What's up guys, Eric, Verus Engineering, and we are joined today with Jackie Ding and Alex from PhD Racing and their M2 BMW. Now earlier this summer, we basically scanned their car, did some CFD, and we have developed an aero kit for their M2, which they are going to campaign next year? Next year in what?
GTA.
GTA, Grid Life. We're going to be installing the front splitter today. So basically, I'm going to go over what's included in the kit. I'm going to go over the tools required to install the kit, and then we'll actually do the install itself. This is a very involved kit, to be honest. There's a lot of development behind it, and this is one of the only ways that we've actually seen to really boost front-end downforce on this vehicle. So this is a very important piece to making your car go faster around the track, if that's your goal. Ultimately, you can be the decision maker on if you want more front bias or rear bias. But if you want some front downforce, we definitely recommend this front splitter because we've done quite a bit of homework on it. Let's get to the install. All right guys, so like I said, this is fairly involved. We have a lot going on here. So we have a left and a right splitter blade. We have a bracket kit, which is kind of laid out here so you can see where everything goes, but we have like the outer ones, I guess you want to call it. We have outer tubes, then we have 4 center brackets. These are all steel with pressed in PEM nuts or clinch nuts. We have an exhaust duct for the oil cooler. That is very important for improving front end downforce from what we found through CFD. We may be offering a completely blocked off unit after we do some testing on our M4 and Jackie's M2. We're also going to be looking into other things on how to improve front end downforce at the end of the day in totality. But that being said, this duct and with how we've designed our front splitter got us very close to basically being fully blocked off. So everything that we've done is pretty, I guess, scienced out. Anyways, moving on from the duct, we have our sheet metal air dam. It is 3 pieces. We have the carbon diffusers, then we have the carbon diffuser add-on pieces because this car is a little bit different and required just a very small modification to that carbon duct so that we actually are venting fully into the fender. And then our optional add-ons are going to be the 3D printed carbon nylon end plates, which also improve front end downforce by improving that high pressure zone on the top of the splitter. Obviously, with all of our kits, we include a hardware kit, and this one is gigantic, so I'm not going to go through it, but I will do my best to verbalize what bolts and nuts go where along the way. Let's get to the install. All right, we're going to start off the install real nice and easy. We're going to basically take a mallet and we're going to press these 2 together. And that's how easy the 2 pieces go together. Next up, we're going to bolt on. Nope, we're going to actually drill the holes for the diffuser. I made that mistake yesterday. Drill holes for diffuser. I'll show you how to do that next. Before I did the diffuser, we're going to install those 2 brackets you see right there. One, holy moly, it's hard to point and look. There. All right, so we did those 2. But ultimately, you use 8 serrated M6 nuts on the top side. You put the brackets on the top side as well. On the bottom side, you go in with an M6 by 1.0, 20 millimeter long button head cap screw, and a 18 millimeter fender washer. And that is ultimately what it ends up looking like on the bottom side. Very nice. And then on the top side, the threads on the M6 button head cap screw are basically flush with the nut. All right, so we have the splitter on the shop floor with the diffuser tunnel in its location that it's supposed to be. So it's not moving. So it's in that recessed pocket. We're going to basically use our drill bit, which is 3/16, aka very close to 5 millimeter, and we're going to use the holes in the splitter as our guide holes. So we're gonna do that real quick. Okay, so at this point, we drilled the holes. We installed the M4 button head cap screws on the bottom side through the diffuser, carbon diffuser, through the splitter, and then we have a M4 fender washer and then an M4 nylock nut on the top. You'll see that they're all installed right now. They're tightened. Don't go crazy. It's an M4, so I wouldn't go too hamski. We also then installed the diffuser add-on piece. This is a 3D printed carbon nylon piece. It goes on the top side here and then gets bolted on with two M4s, the same as the carbon diffuser. So just a button head on the bottom side, fender washer and nylock on the top side. We're gonna throw a little bit of double-sided tape right here just to keep it from doing that. And then we'll be moving on to, I know you can't see it, but the oil cooler duct. All right, so we are moving on to the oil cooler duct. Again, it's to be determined. This is still an R&D project, but we may offer a completely blocked off plate. That being said, the install is going to be the same. We have holes in the splitter. We have holes in the duct. Bolt them together. Seems pretty simple, right? M4 button head cap screws on the bottom side, fender washers, and a nylock nut on the top side. I don't know which I said. The M4 button head cap screws go on the bottom side ultimately of the splitter, and the nylock nuts and the washers go on the top side of the splitter when installed. So you'll see me putting the button head cap screws like that. All right, so with the car in the air, we're basically going to remove this, all these plastic panels. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 plastic panels, and then I think this little thing comes off as well by itself. It looks like it's a bunch of 10 millimeters for the most part. So I'm going to zap those off real quick. It's going to be a few holes in this back. There are 3 screws back here as well, but it's basically going to be all these screws. We're trying to get, again, this plastic, this plastic, this plastic, and then probably I think even this plastic down as well. It's a lot, so we're going to do that. All right guys, so we have removed the plastic under tray. We have now cut out the templates for the, honestly, I don't know what you want to call it, but a bumper bar. It's not a crash beam, but it's an aluminum bumper bar that's pretty stout. I'll show you, I'll take the camera off the tripod real quick and I'll show you, but basically we have those taped to that bar. It's pretty self-explanatory on how to tape it on there. And then I've center punched all those holes. We're gonna pop 3/8 inch holes in here. So I would recommend starting with an 1/8 inch and then stepping it up to a 3/8 inch. And then we're going to install some rivet nuts. So I'll do what I said real quick, show you the templates, and then we'll get to popping some holes. Here's the sidebar. So this is the passenger side on a USDM car. And then here is the center bar. Again, templates taped. You got center punched holes, boom, boom, boom. And then there's the side again. So we'll be good to go. All right, so we have the holes drilled in the bumper bar. Probably see some holes right there. Sorry, my hand blocks the light. We're going to install, oh that sucks, it's very dark. We're gonna install a rivet nut. To basically install this rivet nut, you're going to thread the large or longer M6 socket head cap screw through the install tool, and then the rivet nut there. You're going to hold this stationary with a 9/16 wrench. You're going to tighten the bolt with a 5mm Allen socket preferably. Now if it starts to gall or kind of get hard, use oil on the threads. We recommend using oil on this thread. Otherwise you risk the chance of galling that rivet nut. To install the rivet nut, you're going to throw it into the tube. You're going to tighten it until you feel significant resistance, and then the rivet nut is installed. I will show you what it looks like when it is finished installed. Basically this part crushes down onto the tube, and then it will basically be part of the tube. So we're gonna go do that off camera real quick. I am showing the rivet nuts installed. If you look up in there, you can see that the threaded portion has crushed onto the tube. Probably still difficult to see because it's kind of dark, but anyways, there's the rivet nuts installed on the crash beam. We're gonna work on installing the brackets in the correct orientation from here. All right, so as you can see, we have the brackets all installed. At least for the most part, I think you can see. Maybe not this one. I'll probably show you this one. So the 4 brackets in the front are installed. Keep in mind, they can go left and right. So we've actually gone up and down with the splitter a few times at this point to kind of figure out where these actually need to reside. So we put it up, these two would line up, this one was to the right and that one's to the left or something. You basically space them out, get all the slots in the splitter to line up with the brackets, and then we lock them in. The outer ones are probably going to be the hardest ones, and we'll try and get that in video. So there's the outer one right here. It's got 2 points of mounting here, and then 2 points of mounting here. Then they obviously just go to the crash beam right there. Ultimately, same process as the center 4. Go up with the splitter. I'd recommend probably getting these 4 center ones all good first, and then work on these outer ones. Go up with the splitter, make sure that these 2 holes line up and these 2 holes line up, and then the bracket can be shifted a bunch of different ways. And basically the first time you do it, it's gonna not exactly be fun. We then remove this, the leading edge weather stripping, because we no longer are gonna be using that. And we have now marked the fender liner. You probably can't see. We've marked the fender liner for the diffuser tunnel. That's where we're gonna cut. I think at this point, oh, this guy's gonna come out real quick, and then we're gonna install a plastic rivet nut right here. And I think we're getting pretty darn close to basically final assembly at this point. Overall, the install's gone pretty smoothly, honestly, but it's definitely not the most, it's a bit tedious. How about that? We'll put it at that. But otherwise, pretty stout. We're pretty happy with the results so far. We'll catch back up here with in a second once we get the air dam on the splitter.
While we're under here, we're going to need to remove this plastic block. There's one on either side of the oil cooler. It's on this, I don't know, extension bar. And if you look up through it, there's going to be a silver rivet. And if I find my drill, we need to drill it out. So I used a 21/64 and it worked. I'm sure you could use a 3/8, but if you don't have that size, so do with that what you will. We just need to drill the head off of that, and then once you drill the head off, it will pull down, and then you will still have the crunched half of the rivet in there. And I just took a screwdriver and a hammer and shoved it further into the bar so it wasn't going to rattle around. It's not going to hurt anything if it rattles. It just may be annoying if you hear it over the sound of the car. I just did it as a precautionary measure. So remove this on both sides, and that will allow our splitter to lay more flat, and you can go about the install. In this corner location where you installed the plastic rivet nut, this is where the 35mm cap screw and the large washer is going to go. It's the one with the shoulder on it. And we're going to need to grab the 7.5mm spacers. Should be the only spacers in your kit. The spacer is going to install between the bumper and the splitter blade. So we'll have the splitter blade here, spacer in between, and then our 35mm cap screw through all of them. That is going to space the splitter down enough to where it's going to sit flat with the rest of them and allow everything to tighten down fully.
right, so we have the splitter on the car. It is roughly installed. We're going to basically form the air dam to the bumper. We're gonna shove this guy in here. This is gonna form pretty easily after the fact. It's this corner that's gonna be really difficult. So we're gonna basically go like this, kind of massage it. Try and find that bumper line as best as we can. So we're taking this spot and we're bending it inward. And we're kind of just following that bumper line as best we can. It's actually going to go a little past. I'm not sure if this shows up. That's ultimately the shape that we're going to be looking for. And then the holes on the air dam should line up with the holes on the splitter. We're going to take that splitter back off and install the air dam onto the splitter and then do final test fitting shortly. All right, guys, so at this point I have installed the air dam. It is loose, as you can see, but you want all these nuts to be tight onto the air dam so that as you tighten the bolts from underneath, because you won't be able to see or reach the nuts, they need to actually be able to grab into that powder coat. So you want it like loose enough that it can move, but not loose enough that the nuts just like flailing around. Also, recommendation is to use an impact. An impact kind of helps that serration seat into the powder and then really grip and kind of like stay seated, which is super nice. Hey. All right, guys, so we got the splitter installed. Super loose, all the bolts are installed. Obviously starting my finger tight so that you don't cross-thread them. Once we get the splitter bolted up onto the chassis, we're then going to be able to push the air dam against the bumper and make it look really nice. All right, so as far as the air dam goes, this is what I'm talking about. So there's going to be like a slight gap. We're going to basically push this in and tighten all this type of stuff up and make it look a little bit nicer. So just want to make sure you guys see what I'm talking about. And that's what we're going to do all the way around the bumper, which it already looks really good, but we'll make this look a little bit nicer and go from there. All right, so at this point, we have finished installing the air dam. You can maybe check out the gap. Yeah, there we go. Showing the gap pretty good. I guess I could have probably potentially done a little bit better there, but for the most part, the air dam is right on the bumper, and that is the goal. The smart splitter is basically done at this point. It is capable of handling my entire body weight. Let's see if I can get my feet in the, here's my feet. Capable of holding my entire body weight. It's actually really stout. I'm very happy with how this is coming out, and this is a first article. So there's a few things that we're gonna change, but it's only gonna get better from here. Until next time.